I hate the world today. You're so good to me, I know, but I can't change. Try to tell you, but you look at me like maybe I'm an angel underneath, innocent and sweet. Yesterday I cried, must have been relieved to see the softer side. I can understand how you'd be so confused. I don't envy you, and a little bit of everything all rolled into one. I'm a bitch, I'm a lover, I'm a child, I'm a mother, I'm a sinner, I'm a saint. I do not feel ashamed. I'm your hell, your dreams, I'm nothing in between. You know you wouldn't want it any other way. I can get up, I can do it. Okay. Hey, Ophi. If you have a song, this is your song. Welcome to the shift if you're new. How you doing? Okay, let's see. If you want to know, in case you're new, what's my approach to Ophiuchus, you're welcome to check out the Ophiuchus playlist and watch specifically the first 2 videos that I've made for Ophiuchus/Secret 13 to learn about Ophiuchus in general and also how I approach it here on my channel. Okay, let's get into your reading. My Ophiuchus seekers, the next 30 days-ish. Message for Ophiuchus, please. First card out, 5 of Cups. You have things to be sad over. Don't get me wrong. It's been a lot. Cups were spilled. The pain and grief and sadness are felt. And the 2 full cups behind you, the goodness that is. I'm not going to shade you for not focusing on it or for not seeing it because I'm not part of the toxic positivity tribe. Spirituality is first and foremost truth, be it good or bad. And the truth is that in this earthly realm, we experience things that include the range of human condition and emotions. Happiness, but also sadness. Wins, but also losses. Denying their existence and putting them under the rug. To be always positive and upbeat isn't spiritual nor truthful. It's denial, it's suppression, and given that energy goes nowhere, you can transmute it and turn it into something, but in order for you to do so, you need to acknowledge it first and foremost, right? You need to have the ingredient in order to on a chemical level, change it, be it mixing it with other things, etc. Even then, the sadness is still there, and if you pretend like it's not there, if you tell yourself, oh, I'm happy, I have only good things to focus on, I'm just gonna focus on those, it's not a bad thing to focus on the positive. It is a bad thing to deny the negative because our life is just not made of one. It's an integration of the polarities, right? The hermetic laws of physics, one rely on the other. But it's not to say that you should not acknowledge the negative. It's to say, work with the negative. First and foremost, process it. Let yourself process it. Let yourself feel. Let yourself heal. If I was to bleed and ignore it and be like, I'm not bleeding, I'm fine. What happens to a wound that isn't closed? That just keeps on bleeding? You lose blood and then you lose your life force, and then you know what happens then. That applies to everything. I gotta first look at it and clean it and band-aid it in order for it to heal and be better. So yes, there are plenty of good things for you to focus on and that exist in your life. But there are also these, and you're sad, and that's okay. I think it's very abusive to tell someone grieving or sad or upset that they shouldn't feel these things, that they're being negative, that they're damaging their karma. But it's because it's victim shaming. Something happened to you and you're sad and you're worthy of being acknowledged. And if you want others to acknowledge it, you need to first acknowledge it. If you lie to yourself, others will lie to you too. If you're harsh on yourself and won't let yourself feel, others will do that to you as well. You'll be surrounded with people with toxic positivity telling you you must be happy at all times. And if you're not, you're just creating more of it and giving more of it to yourself. Now, yes, generating positive energy does increase positivity and brings more of that, manifests more of that. But the thing about denial and lying about how you feel and telling yourself you're happy when you're sad or that you're okay when you're not, there's nothing positive about it. It's not the frequency of positivity. It's the frequency of self-deceit and suppression. Hence, that's what will be manifested. If you want to manifest positivity, you need to actually vibrate on the frequency of positivity. Hence, heal the wound properly. Hence, focus on what hurts and be in it. Don't let people guilt you for being sad or being upset. Now, just to be clear, this is not a go to taking out your anger or sadness onto others, right? If you're angry, I'm not saying go and, God forbid, hit someone or hurt them. That's not what I'm referring to when I say acknowledge your anger, for example. But you can acknowledge that you're angry and work on it and work with it and feel it and find positive ways of expressing it. Like go for a run, punch a punching bag, talk about it without taking it out on others. People immediately jump into like, oh, you're saying anything, you shouldn't hurt others though because you're hurt. I didn't say that. You translated as that, those of you who have. That's because that's how deep some people's denial of how they truly feel is. When I talk to them about feeling what they feel, the negative feelings that they have, they immediately go to they try to turn it around against me. Oh, but you're saying this and that. No, I roll the video back. Hear what I said. You inserted it for those of you who have. You've suppressed it so deep. You've denied yourself of your truth so much that you can't even hear me when I refer to it. You hear something else. I do want you to feel positive and happy, thus increasing energetically more happiness in your life. But then it has to be happiness. Let's say you have a lot of people who pretend to care about you, and then you find out that they don't actually do care about you. Or surface level, they're kind and happy, but they sneak in like really passive aggressive negative acts and remarks toward you. What is it? Surface level happiness, but in truth, negativity, which is what you're doing, possibly. Surface level happy, but in truth, you're hurting, you're aching. And once you vibrate on the frequency of truth, then you'll manifest truthful people. What they say is what they do with you. Because if you say one thing about yourself, but you are something different, if you say that you're happy and great and strong, but you're sad and low and kind of weak, and that's okay right now, I'm not saying always, then you manifest people with that dissonance who say that they're one thing in relation to you, but they're actually something else. First, message out the truth of you. Acknowledge it. And it's okay. That way, when you smile, it's genuine and you're actually smiling. That way, when you're happy, you're genuine and you're actually happy. Show Ophiuchus more, please, about this or anything else. The Hangman. This is the conclusion you're having from the past 10, 11 minutes of my rant. And from that conclusion comes the inevitable act of changing your perspective on how you view the world and how you view energy and how you view spirituality. Looking at things from a different angle, from a different perspective. Being upside down is actually enlightened. Acknowledging where you're at will allow you to step out of where you're at. If you tell yourself everything is fine, then everything will remain as is. Because what's there to change? Oh, I'm fine. I'm feeling great. Nothing to fix, nothing to heal, nothing to work through. Then this situation will maintain itself until you change your perspective. If you were asking me, well, how long do I need to do that? Until it's processed. You need to tend to the wound until the blood stops flowing and it's healed. How long it takes depends on your pain, depends on how deep you've suppressed yourself and for how long and how many things you have suppressed. Can take a day, can take a week, can take a few years, and that is okay. The time frame will vary in accordance to the work that you do, to how truthful you are with yourself. Time needs to stand still when it comes to this work that I'm encouraging you to do. You can't think of a time frame or expect it. You want me to give you a time frame in this reading? I can't and I won't because it doesn't apply. Go find a reader that will tell you what you want to hear for the likes and subscribes. That's not my life work. I like your likes and subscribes. They're beneficial for me and they're beneficial for the channel 100%. However, if I degrade the messages for that, it might work for me in the short term, but spirit won't support it in the long term. So what I'm telling you is that be spiritually sad from a place of empowerment, from a place that owns it, that takes it, that understands the power in being truthful and authentic. And once again, to those of you that I need to repeat this, I am not saying to be mean to others. Okay, if you're having a really bad day and you're angry, don't take it out on others. Take a break, communicate before, hey, I'm really in a bad mood and I don't want to take it out on you. So just so you know, I'm going to take a little bit of distance, depending on the circumstances. There are ways to go about it. I'm reiterating some of the things because I'm feeling that for many of you, what I'm saying is foreign and kind of turns you upside down. Because sometimes I get waves of what I feel is newbies in the spiritual world who come from the meme witches. The Instagram short bits of like superficial bubblegum spirituality, the shortcut translation of the ancient wisdoms. who spoke about the power of generating positivity in your life by being positive, being, not acting. Hence, Western society likes everything to be fast. Oh, okay, so I need to be positive, but they don't understand. It comes from a lack of understanding of what true positivity is. It's as simple as it sounds. It's being truly positive. And if you're sad and you're feeling the sadness, this does not mean you will invite more sadness unless you're, indulging in it and chewing it up to get pity, way beyond the time frame that you need it. Maybe you're already healed, but you've learned that when you express sadness, you get a lot of attention, so you kind of continue, and then you act sad. But then that's also inauthentic. Let's take the act out of the equation and focus on the is. If you're truly sad and you feel sad and you allow yourself to be in there, not because you're hoping for, for attention or playing the pity card, that will not manifest more sadness. That will manifest more truth and authenticity. It will deliver truthful, authentic people and situations into your life, and that will inevitably make you happier. And then you'll be able to actually manifest really happy, great things. And some people don't want to take that path of actual process one step at a time because it feels like, oh, I have to do this first and then that, it will take too long. But then if you skip steps, you will never get there. If you don't skip the steps, you will get there. If you skip the steps, you will never get there. So which path is longer? So if you're truly into making things faster, take the longer route. The longer route is shorter than the short route, which is infinite. Five of Swords. It's not about who wins. It's not about how people perceive you. Okay, so you've been bubblegum positive, and then people see you as this positive, uplifting person, but they don't know you. And them admiring you isn't admiration, it's nothing. And you're also not teaching them or being helpful or being a true inspiration to them. Seven of Wands in the reverse, Page of Wands, Eight of Pentacles, and Page of Swords. You're dropping the fight for the perception, for the win, for the ego. You tell yourself it's about being positive, but it's really about ego and how you're perceived. And you let yourself explore life and yourself truly with an open mind and an open heart, beginner's mind. Just like the song that I started with, you are so complex and infinite. There are so many facets to you, Ophiuchus. You're a bitch, you're a lover, you're a child, you're a mother, you're a sinner, you're a saint. And that's the and it's amazing how the reading just aligns so well with it. Sometimes you're a lover, sometimes you're a bitch, a witch. Sometimes you're a sinner, sometimes you're a saint. And, quotations. I'm not talking about, you know, harmful sins like hurting other people. You know what I mean? What, the sin in relation to the toxic positivity, bubblegum spirituality, which is, God forbid, being sad or being negative or being upset, right? Allow yourself to be all these things. Allow yourself to be yourself. You're arranged. You're so broad. And yes, it will require work. And yes, it's new to you. And yes, you will make mistakes. And that is okay. That's part of it. It's a learning process, constant learning process. We're always even when we become master teachers, right? We're still always students. This is the archetype of the students and the master. It's Odin who hung himself on the Yggdrasil tree for 9 days to discover the wisdom of life. And then after 9 days, where he allowed himself to be in a painful place, when he allowed himself to get to know himself truly, all of his facets, then life opened up to him, and the runes, the secrets of life, unveiled to him. The secrets of life, the truth, and that humility and authenticity and courage is what made him Odin, the All-Father, right? The archetype of Zeus, Jupiter, etc. But we're still constantly learning because just like nature has evolution, the divine has evolution. The divine evolves, God evolves as we evolve, as above, so below, as within, so without. It's not that God is in this one level and we constantly strive to become. We are an expression of the divine. We are the face of the divine. And the divine enhances and broadens when we enhance and broaden. But I say it all the time, the only way out is in. You got to be willing to admit that you just started your footsteps in the realm of spirituality and that you will never fully get there because spirituality is the spirit of reality. That's something I like to say. It's infinite. How will you learn it, explore it, if there are certain places you're not willing to go to in yourself? How will you get to know life if you're not willing to get to know yourself? Where it hurts, what offends you, what triggers you. Again, we live in a society, modern society of constant triggers. Everyone responds from their trigger. It's all trauma response, and they call it social justice and social warriors. You have 99% of today's social warriors are injured little children who refused to deal with their pain. They covered it with, I'm strong and I'm positive always. So they're unaware of themselves. So all of their reactions are triggers, emotional triggers based in trauma. And because they're not honest with themselves and how they feel and what hurts them, and what their pain that they're carrying is, they project it onto others and they use other social causes to cover it up, to express it. Instead of dealing with themselves, instead of helping themselves, they help others. But they're not really helping those others because they're not responding to the situation properly and from a place of clarity, just from a place of triggers and projections. One person will say something that reminds them of something that their dad said to them when they were a kid, but because they haven't dealt with it and suppressed it, they will project their relationship with their dad onto them, subconsciously. They won't be aware of it. And then they'll get really upset and really mad as if it's their dad doing what they did to them, what he did to them when they were kids, as if it's them doing that to that group, whatever. And then there's no room for actual conversation because they're not listening. They put words in people's mouths. Their spirit is eager to be angry with what happens to them, but their avatar won't let them be angry because then they will be the negative person that didn't overcome. You want to overcome, truly overcome. I'm not saying that there's no room for social justice warriors. Of course there is. There's enough injustice in the world, but they're not actually fighting for justice. They're not helpful. They're harmful. You want to truly fight for a group of people? Sit with yourself for a long time. Make sure that you know how to listen to what people say and you don't project your pain onto them. And you can do so by dealing with your pain, by being negative, which is actually being positive. And this time frame of this reading, that's what it wants you to do. Will it take you 30 days? Maybe. Will it take you 300 or 3,000? Maybe. Depends on every single one of you. And how soon do you start doing the work? If I was to tell you in 30 days, you'll get it covered. You'll master it. Then you'll sit down for 29 days, not do shit, and on the 30th day, you'll be like, today I got it all. Got it all covered. Now I know. Now I'm enlightened. No, you got to do the work for those 29 days ish, whatever, it's just an example. That's the thing about prophecy. You're a co-creator of those prophecies, of those horoscopes, taroscopes. If I tell you in 30 days you'll meet the love of your life, and then you won't do, and you'll just sit and won't do the things that require for it, you won't go, you won't outside, you won't interact with people, you won't go on a dating site, whatever the case may be. You won't say yes to the person who's asking you out because, well, no, in 30 days you're meeting the love of your life. Well, maybe it's that, it's like, or maybe maybe you'll have to go out with them because the love of your life is an acquaintance of them, and somehow, and then if you don't meet them, if you don't go out with them because I told you that in 30 days it will happen, then it won't happen. If someone tells you in XYZ this will happen, you got to keep living your life and being active. So for those of you who are like, well, tell me what will be. I'm sorry. That's not how it works, love. It's not that I don't know what I'm doing. Quite the opposite. I'm just not taking advantage of you. I'm just not taking advantage of you. I'm telling you the truth. I actually want you to improve your life. I actually want you to be truly happy and truly positive. She's encouraging me to be negative. No, I'm encouraging you to be positive through the negativity. And I didn't make this shit up. It's the laws of physics. Do I like it? No. I can't stand it. The laws of polarity and the hermetic laws annoys the hell out of me. I want to live in the higher dimensions where everything is simple and full of light. But it's not where we're at. Yes, there are birds who can fly, but I'm not going to jump off a roof just because it's possible in this existence to fly. I don't have wings. Not physical ones, anyway. So once you master this cycle of karmic loop, earthly realm, and you reach Dharma and you reach enlightenment, and it's your last reincarnation, and you get to that dimension, yeah, be always positive because that will be the case, but it's not what it is here. And I'm not saying it because I like it. Quite literally the opposite. I can't stand it. But because I aspire to that, I understand that I need to acknowledge it and work with it. And you'll have people around you in the next 30 days ish who will trigger that, who will say things triggering, who will bring this out of you. And that will give you an opportunity to work on it, to practice that muscle. They'll be annoying. And you'll be like, oh, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for bringing me people who press my buttons to remind me of how I feel. People treat you badly when you have unresolved wounds that need to come to the surface for you to clear. It's an opportunity for you to truly overcome. So get angry and get sad and get upset and deal with it and respond to it. And the Eight of Pentacles, boom, turns into a Nine of Pentacles, results. You'll do it and you'll see results so fast. It will be shocking to you how doing the hard, long, negative work will bring such immediate, positive, grounded results. There's the story of the alchemist, by Paulo Coelho, who had to go through an entire journey to find a treasure that he found out at the end of the journey that that treasure was right where he started. But the thing is, if he hadn't gone on that journey was like a roadmap. He would never know where the treasure is. If he had stayed where the treasure was, he wouldn't have known that that's where the treasure was, making it as close as it was, infinitely farther than him. So if he had stayed there, stubborn, it's right here. I am always enlightened and positive already. You will actually never reach that place. As opposed to taking that journey, long and strenuous, that tells you exactly the spot where you need to dig to find that treasure. So here you are finding the treasure after an annoying journey. And you're like, well, why did I have to take that journey if it was right inside of me this entire time? You needed to, that journey was a reflection, a mirroring, a manifestation of your inner long path, because that treasure inside of you is buried underneath so many layers, such a maze, so many blockages that won't let you see it. And then every step that you take in the physical world as part of that journey unveils another aspect and breaks down another wall. They tell you find the world by finding yourself. I'm telling you, find yourself by finding the world. And yes, it goes vice versa, of course. Oh, hey, King of Wands, we have a cutie. I always think of a King of Wands as a cutie, as a hot, charismatic cutie who knows how to treat a lady right, right? That's when it happens. That's when someone worthy who knows how to fucking behave can come into your life. Because when you're one thing on the outside and another thing on the outside, even if they can't cognitively understand the dissonance, they see that something there is off, that you're not authentic. They can't pinpoint it. They can't quite understand it. So the person who's wholesome within themselves, you know, who wears their heart on their sleeve, who they are, who are on the outside what they are on the inside, they won't feel comfortable next to you if you're at a dissonance. So when you find that wholesome aspect of you, when you acknowledge yourself and wear it on your sleeve, that's when they can see you. So here this King of Wands can see you. And you finally feel like someone is treating you right in accordance to what you've been giving to the world, because you started giving it to yourself. I mean, if someone you cared about was to come to you and be sad and upset, would you shame them? Or would you, listen to them and to their pain and help them through it? Same thing. If you're sad and upset, don't shun it and shame yourself and force positivity. Listen to yourself. Acknowledge yourself. Give yourself a hug. Sorry. What's with this King of Wands? Justice. Karmic reward. Dharmic reward. What is the difference between karma and dharma? Karma is a cycle of cause and effect. You give, you receive, right? So if you give fake positivity while you're actually feeling negative, you'll receive fake positivity that is actually negative. See? However, now that you've broken out of this cycle of you're either this or that and your constant competition of having always to be positive in order to have good karma, when you realize that the cycle needs to be broken down, you get Dharma. And Dharma is when we break out of the karmic cycle. Because we went through it, not outside of it. We didn't run away from it, right? When people do everything just because when someone is kind because they want good karma, they're not being kind. They're not doing it for you. They're doing it because they want the reward or because they fear punishment. They fear divine punishment and they want divine reward. It's about them. They're using you to get something positive. So when you do that, when you fake positivity and kindness to get good karmic reward, you're not going to get good karmic reward because you're not genuine with your intention. But when you start being true and authentic and you work through your karmas and you pay your dues and you're graceful about them, this shit hurts. This shit is terrible. I'm miserable. I'm aware that maybe I've either done, maybe it's a result of me doing this to myself, so it's a reflection, or me doing this to another, so it's an effect to a cause. And maybe you've done this 10 lifetimes ago and you have no idea what you did to deserve it. You don't deserve it. Maybe this avatar of yours in this lifetime has done absolutely nothing to deserve whatever these things that you went through. So even like could be a lifetime, 10 lifetimes ago. But you're still graceful about him and about this and you deal with it. So you take every karmic result, you feel it, you process it, and then you go to the next. You get to Dharma, enlightenment, where you truly become a manifestor and a co-creator. Because as long as you're in the karmic cycle, and most of us are, okay? It's not an easy journey. It can take lifetimes. I'm just saying this to explain to you the difference between karma and dharma, okay? Dharma, when you're in the karmic cycle, even though you have the potential of being a co-creator, there will always be roadblocks and blockages that are a result of karma. So you can't fully manifest. But dharma is when the road gets cleared. You don't have karmic effects anymore to block you and to stop you, to force stop you in order for you to deal with what it is you need to deal with. And then you can truly manifest, and then manifestation happens fast. You think something and it exists immediately, and the reason why it exists immediately is because it's in full alignment with the collective spirit, the universal desire, the divine desire, what God wants. So there's no block to it because it's in alignment with the higher self of you and the higher self of the collective. So you're given it immediately. Initially, when you're in state of dharma, you won't want things that aren't good for you. That's why they happen so fast. When we want things that are not good for us and not for our highest good, we won't manifest them because there's no alignment. In the dharmic state is not as much as it is a state as it is the lack of blockages. Because you're already Dharma, right? You yourself, a co-creator. That's the essence of your existence. But it's constantly blocked by the karmic cycle. So when that karmic cycle ends, then you're free to be that dharmic essence. And for some of you, as soon as you get that, even just that, I'm not saying you need to reach enlightenment. It's not about that. You don't need to reach enlightenment to be loved or to have good relationships. Just again, I've given you this explanation for the philosophy to understand, to have the knowledge of the difference, right? But as soon as you start doing the work and acknowledge the being that you are, that's when something really good and committed and fun and loving can come in. And this could be someone that has, let's talk more worldly, this could be someone that has recently gotten a divorce or went through a separation, a real one. This could be something that happens in the workplace, but it's not limited to that. Anything else? One more? We have Five of Pentacles in the upright and Nine of Swords in the reverse. Some of you are glorifying trauma bonding, like you have a trauma bond with someone, or maybe it's this person who has been doing that, or maybe it's you, where you have so much in common with someone because you both went through similar trauma, similar pain, but the thing is, you both take it out on each other, and that's why it's such a triggering, um, flammable relationship. And it's meant, this relationship is or was meant for you to see your pain so that you can finally acknowledge it. Some of you have been repeating a very painful cycle in a relationship. No, you have or recently had a relationship that is a mirror of a repetitive, painful cycle that you wouldn't acknowledge and admit and work through or allow yourself to feel. So that's why the universe kept needing to mirror it to you, so to trigger that pain out. Because you kept holding onto your guns and not work on the self, that's why it kept being miserable. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to start doing the work and that shit will fall. That relationship, that connection, that trauma bond will fall. And some of you are going to be like, I'm not ready to let this person go. That's because you're not ready to let healing happen. And if that's the case, that's your free choice. But then that means you will remain in this cycle for a long time. But look what is waiting right around the corner if you allow yourself to let go of something that is based in pain and not in love. But that is a choice. I have this trio here, and I have this duo here. You refuse to feel the pain. You refuse to go through the shadow work. Long, dark night of the soul. And so you're staying in this repetitive, painful cycle with someone that is only giving you grief and sadness. It's yours to choose, love. 7 days free trial over on Patreon. Link is below. It's where I teach you tarot as well as other things. Check it out. Stay magic. Stay true. I love you.